Fellow photographers, do you find yourself thinking that your digital files are lacking color density, that you would never be able to post-process your digital files so they would look like film with those specific, deep, rich tones that only film has? Because I did, and I know exactly what I was doing wrong. So let's jump into Lightroom. And over here, I want to tell you about the Refine Saturation slider. This is usually set to 100%, and that means that whenever you're pushing your highlights with the luminance curve up and your shadows down, you are also pushing the saturation of those highlights up and the saturation of those shadows down. Now let's assume that you've previously increased your shadows and lowered your highlights. That will lead you to use a rather aggressive S-curve to compensate for the lack of contrast. And because of the Refine Saturation slider, your highlights are gonna get saturated and your shadows are gonna get desaturated. Meaning that whenever you wanna increase the overall saturation in your photo to get those rich tones in your shadows, you're gonna end up with highlights that are oversaturated. So how do we compensate for this mess? The simplest method is just not pushing the raw files really hard. But if you do need to push them, make sure to tone down the Refine Saturation slider a tiny bit and then boost the saturation or the vibrance across your entire photo. And if you're thinking this is some crazy Lightroom magic, make sure to subscribe because my next long format video is gonna be even crazier.